Hello, everyone. Based on the way that we opened in the morning, I will say that it was a good day in that I really did think that it was going to turn into a bloodbath after the morning. I know some people are like, I knew we were going to bounce off the lows, but congratulations to your predictive ability. I, on the other hand, go with reality, and reality said that we should not expect this market to rally before it sells off. So the NASDAQ reversal today was pretty nice as it was only down 0.07%. Volume was lower than the session before. Still nothing terrible. This is something the market could work off, but like I said, I doubt that we're going to explode higher in the short term. And then the New York Stock Exchange, more new lows on short term. So NYSE down 1.03% today. That's basically because oil still continues to look terrible, but the S&P 500, similar situation, down 0.65, still holding the Thursday lows along with the Dow Jones Industrial Average. But still, that's not much comfort then whenever you have the Russell 2000 continuing to sell off and now closing below the 50-day moving average. So hopefully, we can find a floor here, hold those November lows and rally. But I tell you what, this, pattern of rollovers followed by V-shaped rallies normally are followed by lower lows. So, you don't just roll over. No, let's find support and now rally. It would be nice if we did, but I just really doubt that that's going to happen. So I really stress exercising caution here. And on that note, partial stops for me continue to go off here and go off there. And we do have a full sell on an end of day basis. BYD is a full sell. Intraday also, I think Pega was a full sell for me, but it's fine by closing basis, but still. The stocks that are triggering full sells, there's only one that's come back and makes me want to buy it back, and that's EXTR, which I'll probably put right back on. So it's more than likely going to be a buyback this evening also. But overall, most of the stops that are triggering, I want to go ahead and keep those true. ADAT hit half my sell stops, and it's fine by the close. Actually looks damn good by the close, but it's not good enough. BOP isn't. BOP should have been stronger today, even though it's lower volume. So I'm all right with reducing part of my position in the name. It's not that big of a deal. ADAT should have been moving higher immediately following this, but it's still basing nicely. Could break out again and give a new signal and or break out and not give us a chance to get back in. But either way, I'd rather play it safe here. And that's why BCO on an end-of-day basis closing below the 50-day moving average on below average volume is technically a 50% sell signal. But for me, my final sell stop is back here. So I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to keep my final sell stop at these lows, which I believe is like 15 cents below today's low a day. But BCO is at least a 50% sell. AEPI also closing below the 20-day moving average on below average volume. So once again, it's not a hard sell, but it's breaking that short up trend line. So I want to have half my sell stops here. And then I guess, I already have them here, so I'm pretty sure I'm not going to move them. I'm going to wait for a confirmation close, and if it happens to eclipse those lows, that's fine, but I want to give it some breathing room because low volume sell-offs are kind of tricky to deal with. And then VA is interesting. I'm already out of VA thanks to this day here, so I'm completely out of it, but on an end-of-day basis, to me, it's still a 50% sell, even though the 50% sell was back here or here. I can't quite remember, so it's still above those lows, but this is an ugly day on heavy volume. I think the worst name I had in my holdings that weren't full sells on an end-of-day basis. So VA is still a 50% sell signal. And then AGRO, a tricky one, but because I added to it, which is actually my initial buy, this confirmation close below the 20-day moving average is definitely a 50% sell. So if you're long from back here, congratulations. I am not. I'm long from here, but now I will be putting half my personal sell stop below the 1049, and then on my add signal it's still this low. But if you're still long from here, you might want to you still want to be using those same levels I am. Maybe you're going to use this low. Is that lower? 1030. Nope, 1025. So, even if you are long AGRO in this tape, I still recommend having your final sell stop here. I was giving it room because I didn't even get a large position on my add signal because I was already fully invested. So it's really splitting hairs with me on AGRO. I can give it room to pull back, but overall, the market's still not making headway, so caution is extremely advised here. But, despite all that, damn, I'm still getting long signals, and I just can't pass on them. That's going to be irresponsible because if one moves without me, I'm going to feel really stupid. And in that regards, EGRX. EGRX gave me a buy signal back here, but it wasn't good enough to me because it was extended. Perfect speculator stock, by the way. So this is in my top stock scan. Gives me a signal here. I pass on it since it's not a pocket pivot point kind of V-shaped move. And then right here, it gives me another chance. It's in my perfect speculator scan again. I see it, but the lower volume, I pass on it. And like I can always tell you guys, when I pass on something I should go long, I always pay the price. And today, EGRX a big move. So even if I get it on the second long, I'm up 16%. So that's why I'm taking the new long signals tonight. The first one, GNCMA. It was flagged in my new high scan, new 52-week highs on the above average volume scan, confirmed the price volume BOP scan, which is really the main trigger. So for being in the price volume BOP, it's 1%, 0.5% for being confirmed the new high scan. Tons of pocket pivot point signals as it breaks out of this kind of flattish base here, which was part of a longer term uptrend that's very, very bullish from back in October, September is whenever it started. So it's not perfect. The base isn't long. It's not coming around 50-day moving average, but it's worth 1.5%. And then I'll be using, of course, these lows here as my final sell stop level. So overall, it's worth it if the market does continue to move higher. Like I said, I'd rather go long, be wrong, cut my losses, than not take it and have another EGRX happen in front of my face. And then the other new long signal, HZN, I was interested in it back whenever it triggered this signal back here. But I thought, I wish it had, a series of higher highs and higher lows first. Well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and cheat it because I'm getting another nice volume move with a little increase in BOP. So I assume if it falls through tomorrow above the 50-day moving average, it'll be too extended for me to buy. So I'll go ahead and go in here with the BOP surge and with the volume surge. HZN is good. It was in my price volume BOP scan, but initially it was flagged in my IPO scan, new issue scan. So 1% for being price volume BOP, and we'll give it 0.5% for being a newly listed stock on the NASDAQ. That should help give it some momentum whenever it decides to go. And then surprisingly, another ad signal and fix. This is its second in a row, another pocket pivot point signal. BOP surge, volume was well above average, and an excellent intraday move. So fix is going to get 1% ad signal. I will continue to use this as the ad signal's final cut loss, 31.56, but you can also use 32.37 on half the position on this ad signal. And then, of course, to hedge this, as this market still looks weak, and I still think probably the path of least resistance on the most short term is choppy to down. Intermediate term still looks good to go up, but might be a rough patch for a little bit. So UVXY, pocket pivot point signal today on a big volume surge. It did close lower than where it opened, but it still closed in the upper half of its intraday range. So I look at that as I get a better entry signal. And even though BOP is going in the wrong direction, I really don't care. Just want to add a little bit more hedge here in case this market just really, breaks apart. I didn't take SRTY when it made this move here. And when it pocket pivot point signal, I figured it was too much. So, I feel like I'm under hedged in a small UVXY position. So I plan on trying to maybe, I think, double it. We'll see. But for right now, it's supposed to be a 1% ad signal, fix 1%, GNCMA 1.5%, and HZN 1.5%. Caution is urged. We just don't have a strong looking market if you look at the NYSE and Russell 2000. And even with the NASDAQ, it's kind of choppy. Be careful out there, everyone.